is Louise Murphy. I'm the owner of Visiting Angels in Nashua. We are a non-medical home care agency, and what I'm here to talk today about is what are your options for care at home. Is this annoying you all as much as it's annoying me? Okay. I'm here to talk about your options for care at home. So you can stay at home and not have to move into assisted living or nursing or anything like that. So there are various options, and in fact you can go all the way to house at home if that's your choice, right? So we're going to talk about the different types of services you may receive at home in order to be able to stay there. The first, we'll talk about visiting nurses. We'll talk about home health care, physical therapy, occupational therapy, private duty home care, which is what Visiting Angels is. And there are many options for private duty home care. We are one of them. And also talk about hospice and what that means to have hospice in your home. First, visiting nurse, right? Usually that will be assigned by your primary care physician after a hospitalization or a significant illness or medical event, rehab stay, something like that. That visiting nurse may come to see you once a week or several times a week, depending on the severity of your situation. Obviously, the more acute your problem is, the more visits you get from that visiting nurse. And what they're doing is monitoring your health during your transition home. They will check your vitals, they'll make sure you're eating properly, make sure you have a proper hygiene regimen, and they're monitoring your return to normal, right? Whatever your normal is, they want to make sure you're back to your normal. So that's what they are doing, and making sure that your medications are set up and everything. You're good to go and you're functional on your own. Usually they're set up for a period of time, a certain number of visits after whatever medical event you had. And generally this will be covered by your medical insurance, Medicare, or other Medicare Advantage insurance. Those are generally covered by your insurance. You might also have some additional home health care services at the same time, also have to be ordered by your physician, your primary care, or a doctor that you were seeing in the hospital would order them as well. These are for short-term medical needs. So they'll provide services that include a medical component, maybe wound care, if you've had a wound, or medication administration, monitoring your blood pressure, pulse oxygen levels, blood sugar. Sometimes people go in the hospital and find out they're diabetic or they're pre-diabetic, so now they have to be monitoring their blood sugar, but you don't really know how to do it. So these home health services will help you make sure that you are doing it correctly and you're doing it at the right time. And that if you have to take medication or if you have to have insulin, that you're doing all of that correctly. And again, these are for short-term things. They're intermittent, they're per visit services. These services will be provided by a home health aide, a licensed nursing assistant, an LPN, or sometimes an RN. They'll do bits and pieces. The RN generally will coordinate the care of all of these short-term medical needs. The sources of payment for this will include your medical insurance, Medicare, Medicare Advantage, Medicaid, Veterans Administration will pay for these services, workers' comp if it's a work-related injury claim, and private pay. You can have these services private pay if you don't qualify for them, but you want to have them because you feel better about it. You can have them on a private pay basis. You could have a private pay visiting nurse come once a week to see you. There are services available for that if you feel you need that. Again, you have to be homebound to receive these services. You cannot get the services of a visiting nurse or a home health aide if you are able to get out of your house, right? And again, they're designed for a short-term period of time when you're leaving the hospital, leaving a rehab, after having a significant illness, where you generally won't be leaving your house. So we want to make sure that you become healthy enough to be able to leave your house, right? You might have physical therapy also as part of this home care service. Again, ordered by your physician. Sometimes you get physical therapy but not a visiting nurse. Or a physical therapy but not a home health aide, depending on your particular status. But ordered by your physician. This is outpatient therapy, so you're obviously not in a rehab, you're not in a hospital. They come to your home. Or you might be going to a rehab outpatient facility. But what we're talking about is what will come to your home. You have to be homebound to get them to come to your home. This is designed to strengthen your body, get you to return to your normal level of activity. Whatever your normal is, we want you back to your normal level of activity, or maybe even a little better if you can improve. Oftentimes, a lot of times with older folks, dehydration can wreak havoc on your functional ability, right? Or UTI, we see a lot of that. And your body just not only cognitively but physically loses its strength, and you may need to do some physical therapy to get all of that back. So that oftentimes will be what they're focused on. They're typically working on your activities of daily living, like walking, right? With or without a walker or a cane. They're making sure that you are stable, or they're helping you become stable and strong enough to walk independently. And by independently, I don't mean not necessarily using a walker, I mean without somebody with you all the time, right? They'll help you make sure that you can get in and out of bed safely, that you can get in and out of the shower safely if you have to step over the bathtub. Like, they'll make sure that you are strong enough physically to do those things. And they will assign you exercises that you should do every day, right? Not just a couple days a week that they show up. Those exercises are things you should do every day to keep your strength, to continue to maintain your strength and get back to your norm, right? And back to the level of activity that you want to be at. Again, there's a certain number of visits, may be covered by your medical insurance, Medicare, whatever, Medicare Advantage. Usually you'll get a prescribed number of visits. They can be extended if your physical therapist is working with you and feels like you would benefit from another couple of visits. But usually they'll generally start with 6 visits. You get twice a week for 3 weeks. Generally, that's how they start. It will depend on specifically what is going on with you, but generally they have that as their sort of mindset. We're going to be here twice a week for 3 weeks. And then they'll sign you off, which means they feel that you are back to your normal level of physical activity, of strength, and your ability to function independently. Occupational therapy also is generally part of the home health services, so ordered by your physician. That ensures you can perform certain of your independent activities of daily living, so cooking, housekeeping, writing, using the telephone, making sure you know what to do, how to use the telephone. Maybe they'll help you with your TV remote. And if they do, they can come to my house and help me with my TV remote, because my kids have moved out and I can't make it work. This may again last for a few sessions. Usually you'll get 1, 2, maybe 3 of these, but they are just monitoring to make sure that you can independently make yourself a meal, and that you are independently able to eat and clean up after the meal, and that you are independently able to keep your house up, right? Do your laundry, that kind of stuff. Again, this should all be covered by your medical insurance, whether that's Medicare or some other private insurance, should be covered by your medical insurance. If it's ordered by your doctor, right? It all has to be ordered by your doctor if you want it covered. Now there's private duty home care, which is Visiting Angels and many other agencies who shall remain nameless in this room, but there's many agencies to choose from. But what we do is we often work in conjunction with those home health services. After you've had an event, it may be recommended to you by your doctor if they're noticing just a decline, or a family member or a neighbor or a friend who's noticed you're not doing quite as well, or you could use a little support in this area. And really that's what we do, is we give support so you can keep your independent, your daily routine just the way you want it. There are two goals for any private duty, non-medical home care agency. The first is to maintain the health, the well-being, the independence of the care recipient, the person who needs the care. And the second, and equally as important, is to maintain the health and well-being of that person's primary caregiver. Whether it's a spouse, a son, a daughter, a next-door neighbor, whoever that primary caregiver is, that's our goal also, is to make sure that that person is supported. As much as we are providing services to one person, we are supporting very much that primary caregiver. They're non-medical services only, so we will talk about what we can and can't do. But we schedule and plan our care based on each individual person's needs. So your schedule is based on your needs, and the plan of care is based individually on what's going on with you, what your medical diagnoses are, what your functional level is, cognitive level. All of that is taken into consideration when we're crafting everybody's individual plan of care. But we spend a lot of time with you getting to know your routine, and so that we can help you keep that routine. That's the goal, is to help you keep the routine that you want, because that's how you want to live, right? We can provide personal care assistance, so we're non-medical, but we can provide hands-on assistance with personal care. So we can assist with toileting or incontinence care if it's needed. We can assist with bathing or showering, grooming, dressing. So we can help with all of those things at whatever level you need. So if you need full assistance with getting dressed, we can provide that assistance. If you need full assistance with the shower, we can provide full assistance with the shower. We can help you in and out of the shower. We can actually do the shower. We train our caregivers to give a shower. We assist with transferring. If you're ambulatory and you can get up and go from one room to another, we can assist you with getting up if you need help, if you're struggling getting out of a chair because you've had some mobility decline and you're struggling. We can help with that. We do provide care to bedridden clients when needed. We can change colostomy bags, just the bag. We can't change the we can't do anything to the appliance. Same thing with catheter bags. We can empty the bag. We can't actually touch the catheter itself. So there's the line, right, between medical and non-medical. But we can do a lot. We can do a lot of things. And a lot of times people think, oh, I need a nurse. I need a nurse, right? I need somebody to help me. But you don't actually need a nurse, because it's not a medical need that you have. It's a supportive need. And that's what we do. We help with light housekeeping. So we'll maintain the areas that you live in, that the care recipient lives in. So say you lived with, your daughter who had 7 kids. We will maintain the room that you live in, the places that you spend all your time, the bathroom that you use. We'll maintain your living area. We're not going to clean the house and do the dishes for the 12 other people that live in the house. We'll take care of your particular needs. We can change your bed linens, right, and do the laundry. Changing the bed sheets often is an issue for people because it's difficult. Sometimes the beds are in the corner. It's difficult to get in the corner, and it is difficult to lift the mattress and get that fitted sheet under there sometimes, right? It takes a lot of coordination and strength. I hate making the bed myself, right? I much prefer to do it with someone else. We can wash the dishes associated with meal prep, which means we can cook meals for you and help you plan a healthy menu for the week. Empty your trash. We'll spot clean areas that need cleaning as things go along, mop the floors, again, your areas, right? We're very focused on bathrooms and kitchens, keeping them clean for you. Other things we can do, miscellaneous, we can pick up prescriptions for you or do other errands, grocery shopping, anything like that. If you're not able to get out of the house and do them, we can do them for you, or we can do them with you. So we can take you and help you through the store to make the selections you need, or we can do them for you if there's a day I'm not feeling so great. Or it's pouring rain like it was this morning, and I didn't want to go out this morning. I wouldn't want to do errands this morning, so the caregiver can certainly go. If you need a prescription, the caregiver can go pick that up for you. Plan your meals, we talked about that. Medication reminders. Oftentimes we go into homes and the first thing that a son or daughter or a spouse will say to us is their medications are all messed up, right? Because somebody's just not paying attention to whether they took their medication or didn't take their medication, or they had something going on that prevented them from being able to do that for themselves. And nobody realized that this was going on, so their medications are all out of whack. So we can provide those reminders and monitor the pill planner to make sure that things have been taken appropriately. And we can't fill the pill planner, but we can monitor it to make sure that the medication is taken, and we can also give you the medication out of the pill planner to take at the right time. So if it's 8 a.m. and you're supposed to be taking your medication, on Tuesday we can open that pill planner and give it to you. We cannot take it out of a prescription bottle. That's the line between medical and non-medical. We cannot open a prescription bottle and take out a pill. You can take out the pill, and if you can open the bottle, we can remind you it's 10 a.m. or you have to take this pill at 10 a.m., but we can't open that bottle and take it out. If it's in a pill planner, we can pop open the planner and say, it's 10 a.m., take this medication. Because that's the difference between medication administration and medication reminding. We can drive you to appointments. Oftentimes, we'll have family members say, I want to do all the doctor's appointments, but I don't want to do the dentist or the hair appointments or the nail appointments or the podiatrist or any of those other things. I would be so happy if somebody could do that. We can take you to doctor's appointments too. We do deal with a lot of clients whose families are out of town. So they rely on us to take them to the doctor's appointment and report back to their families what happened at the doctor's appointment. Many doctors now use automatic, they'll give you a printout at your appointment of what you discussed today, which I think is wonderful. All doctors should do that. But you should never go to a doctor's appointment alone. Doctors talk way faster than I do, and they use language you don't understand, right? They're saying words that you don't understand. And so your brain is processing what they just said, but they've already moved on to the next thing they want to talk to you about. So it's really important to always have somebody else with you, because one person can be writing things down while you're trying to talk to them. Whether it's your son or daughter or your spouse or a caregiver, they can be a scribe for you and just writing down these words to make sure you got everything and make sure that you then can get your questions answered, right? So we do that for a lot of our clients. We will take them to any appointment they want. But oftentimes the first place we start is, take me to get my haircut. I've been in the hospital, I've been in rehab, I haven't had a haircut in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Please take me to get my haircut. So oftentimes I'll meet somebody and then I'll go see them after we've been there for a week and I'll say, wow, you look fantastic, I got your haircut. We will call 911 also in case of emergency. A lot of people will say, no, I'm fine, I'm just gonna wait it out, right? But you can't be objective if it's happening to you. You can't be objective. And I know generationally, and this is a gross generalization, generationally you don't like to go to the doctor, right? I know my dad hated the doctor. My grandfather hated the doctor, just would do anything to avoid going to the doctor, right? But when you need to, you need to. So we could be the objective person of we should call 911 and let somebody come and medically evaluate you to see if it makes sense for you to go to the hospital. And most importantly, we do provide joyful companionship. Many people live alone. Many of our clients do live alone, and we're somebody to talk to, somebody to do things with, plan outings with, crafts, just have conversation. That's the most important part of what we do, frankly. We talked, the last time I was here when we were talking about cognitive decline in Alzheimer's or old age, socialization is huge, right? So if you do live alone, get out and socialize. That's a huge part of what we do, is to provide that socialization for our clients. Even if you do live with a spouse, sometimes it's just nice to have someone else, different point of view, to chat with. As things change, as we age, all of us, things change for all of us. And sometimes it's nice to just have a different ear to listen to you. We cannot do anything medical, right? But one of the things we can't do is lift or transfer somebody who's non-ambulatory. So if you are bed bound, we will make the bed with you in it. We'll change the bed sheets with you in it. We're not going to transfer you out, because we can't, because that means we're lifting dead weight, and nobody should do that. You're on the floor, we will not lift you up. Because if you cannot get yourself up, two things: the caregiver is going to get hurt, or you could be hurt, and you'd be hurt more seriously if we tried to get you up. You should never lift somebody off the floor. No matter how strong you think you are, you should not lift somebody off the floor. Always call for help. We can't perform any medical procedures like wound care. Technically, we can't even put a Band-Aid on a cut, according to our license. I do believe that caregivers would probably do what they had to do if somebody had a cut, and the client could not get a Band-Aid on themselves, they would probably assist in that. But technically, we're not allowed to put a Band-Aid on a cut. We don't do wound care. So if you have a wound that needs dressing, you're going to have a home health aide help you with that, or a visiting nurse who's going to help you with that. We administer medications. We talked about that. We don't deep clean your home. So we don't come in and do the top to bottom spring cleaning. We don't do windows. We don't climb ladders. We don't take down your draperies or move your furniture, clean behind your furniture. We won't provide services to family members that are in your home but not under contract with us. Now, if you live with a spouse and we're making lunch for you, it's no trouble to make a sandwich for someone else, right? But if you live with your daughter and her 7 kids, we're not making a meal for the 8 people, 9, 10 people that live in the home. We don't move furniture, ladders. We don't do yard work, although we do enjoy gardening with a lot of our clients. So we can do gardening, whether it's flowers or vegetables. I know many of my caregivers love to do those things, because it brings the client a lot of joy, because it's something you've done all the time and you want to continue. We won't assist with financial matters either. But if you need assistance with financial matters, we'll refer you to the right person. And if you just need to go to the bank, right, you need cash, we'll drive you to the bank so that you can go in and the teller, personal teller or customer service person can help you with that. Because we won't take your ATM card and get you cash, right? That's for your protection and our caregivers' protection, right? These services are generally private pay. They may be covered by a long-term care insurance policy. If you have a long-term care policy, we're finding more and more people that do have that. You have to meet the eligibility criteria of your particular insurance company. They're all a little different. They all have certain of the same criteria, but then each of them, whether it's Bankers Life, Prudential, there's many of them. They all have these little tweaky things that you have to do in order to be qualified to activate a claim for your long-term care. And if you have long-term care, it's fantastic. Do not wait to use it. Use it when you need it. I can't tell you the number of people, clients I've had who said, and my own mother-in-law, wonderful, had a great long-term care policy, and she always said, I don't need it, I'm not going to use it yet, I'm going to wait till I need it. The problem with that is if you die before you've used the whole benefit, you lose it, right? So you've been paying for this benefit for a long time, and when it's time for you to activate the claim, you stop paying. You don't pay anymore on that. And you start getting back what you put into it. But I had a client one time who was the same thing, was ill, and I'm not going to activate it, and he had service from us for 48 hours and passed away. He got nothing, because there's a waiting period usually in these long-term care policies. There's a waiting period, I forget what they call it, but there's a waiting period before you can start collecting. You have to have the service before they'll start paying for it. So essentially, you have to prove you need the service and that you want the service before they kick in and start paying for it. Some of them are 15 days, some of them are 7, some of them are 90, right? So you got it, every policy is different. You have to look at your policy. But this particular gentleman had a 30-day waiting period. He had a 30-day waiting period, and he passed away after 48 hours of saying, I want to use this. So he got 0, nothing. They didn't even cover the 48 hours of service that we provided. And this guy had been paying into this policy for a long time. So if you have a policy and you're starting to need service in your home, make sure you let your provider know that you have this policy, because then they can look at it to see if you qualify for them to cover the service, right? And we'll also be on the lookout for, if you start to decline, now may be the time to activate that policy, because things are going on. And the good thing about that is if you have us in the home and then you later say, I gotta activate that policy, they count all that time already towards your waiting period, right? So anytime you've already had us, say you've already had us in your home for 9 months already, you can activate your policy, and that time you've already been there basically negates your waiting or period or elimination period or whatever it's called in your policy. So make sure if you do get a private duty home care provider in, that you let them know when you sign them on that you have this policy. You may not be ready to use it just yet because you're just getting a little bit of support and you wouldn't meet the qualification, but as time goes on, you might. And we are a lot more objective at saying whether you might or might not qualify, because we can look at things objectively, right? We can look at things more objectively than your sons, your daughters, your spouse, because you're too invested in the situation. You can't see clearly what's going on. Some of the services are covered by New Hampshire Medicaid, not Medicare, although Medicare Advantage, if anybody has a Medicare Advantage plan, did make a big splash 2 years ago about saying we're going to cover these non-medical in-home services. And what they started with is essentially you can get 2 hours a week of these services and they'll pay for it. I have seen them recently being willing to cover 40 hours a week, right? But you have to be pretty significantly deconditioned or significantly ill for them to pop in and cover those services. But they recognize that it's a lot cheaper for them to pay for you to stay at home and provide all of these supportive services than for them to have to provide service for you to be hospitalized or to provide care to you in a rehab, right, or a skilled nursing facility. It's a lot cheaper for them. It's a lot better for you, right? Mentally, it's a lot better for you, but it's just it's a lot nicer for you overall to be where you want to be at home. So you would, if you do have a Medicare Advantage plan, you could ask them if they do cover these services. They cover non-medical or private duty services. I would ask the question. The flip side of that is you may not be able to find a provider that will take the insurance, because we're small agencies and have to deal with the large insurance companies, and you have to go through a contract process, and it's a whole process. So finding a provider to do that might be difficult. It might not be difficult. It might be the way of home care in the next few years. It might be that all of us have contracts with the various Medicare Advantage plans. I know in New Hampshire, 2 years ago, none of the Medicare Advantage plans were covering this. I have heard more recently there are, and don't ask me which one, I know at least one that was willing to cover a significant number of hours weekly for their particular, they call them patients. we call you clients, because I think it's nicer. So for that particular person, they were willing to cover a significant number of hours. So it really is dependent on your particular insurance company, whether they will cover it or not in the first place, and then how many hours a week they're willing to cover. And it might be that they're willing to cover it for a short period of time until if you're at home, right, you've come home from the hospital or rehab stay, and you're getting that nursing, the visiting nurse, the physical therapy, they may be willing to provide these other supportive services for a period of time. It may not be long-term, forever. It might be you get this for 6 weeks, or you get this forever, depending on what it is, the situation is, but ask your insurance company if they do. It's worth it. If they cover something, generally speaking, our services are private pay. Or veterans, if you're a veteran or married to a veteran, they may cover some of the services also. You should ask your caseworker or get in touch with the VA to see if you would qualify for whatever of their particular programs they have. The state does also maintain some respite grant funding for if you're over 65, caring for somebody who's over 65. They have a small pool of respite funds that they would give. It's like $700 or $800 a year, but it's something, right? It's something. But with private duty, with home care, you are in control of your schedule, right? So we work together to develop your schedule because we want to make the plan that makes the most sense to allow you to stay at home and in the routine that you're used to, because that's how you're going to be the most successful. And we take your privacy very seriously. Visiting Angels is fully HIPAA compliant. We will not talk about you to your next door neighbor or to anybody that's not allowed and authorized by you to know. I would also like to talk about hospice services at home. I mean, hospice, nobody likes to talk about hospice, but I think it's a really important piece of aging at home and staying at home as long as you want to. Generally speaking, to qualify for hospice care, you have to be deemed that you're not expected to live more than 6 months from the time that they qualify you. It doesn't mean you're imminently dying. And I have a client right now who's been on and off of hospice services for the past 3.5 years, right? So, we do great work, and our hospice nurse says, wow, she is doing fantastic because no skin breakdown, she's amazing. And this woman's bedbound, and she's been bedbound for 1.5 years now, but she's doing fantastic. So she has to come off hospice because now she doesn't qualify. And then, she'll be doing great for a little while and something will happen. Maybe she'll get an infection or something, or she's not eating or drinking enough, so she's dehydrated, so she starts to decline. So we call the hospice nurse back and say, can we have another consult? So just because you are qualified for hospice doesn't necessarily mean you're imminently dying. It means there's something significantly wrong, or significantly, there's a significant need that could potentially result in, end of life. But the support you get from the hospice nurse and potentially a hospice aide is amazing, and they're very supportive. We work with hospice agencies all the time. Many of our clients are on hospice services, and it's just extra support for families. My sister-in-law is going through this right now. Her mother lives in a skilled nursing facility and had a UTI and really thought, she ended up taking her out to the hospital. We thought it was the end, and I said, I think it's time. You need a hospice consult, because my sister-in-law is trying to manage all the care. The facility's not being helpful. My sister-in-law is trying to manage all this, and so I said, let's get a hospice consult for you so that you have the support of somebody else to say, she needs to eat more, or she needs to do this, or we need to change her regimen of something. But it doesn't mean that actually she had a hospice consult and now she's doing fantastic. So I don't know if she's going to still qualify for the hospice, but it's that support. And once you've been on hospice, they know you, they have your information. You can call up that same, generally speaking, you can get that same nurse. Right? So you've developed a rapport and a relationship with this nurse, and they know you, so they know what your norm is, right? What your baseline is, and they know when something's not right. And they know how to help. Now, if we need to do injections or we need to do any of those things, we have a nurse in the home who can do it. They can help us figure out what's the best way to manage these symptoms. And help spouses and sons or daughters cope with what's going on, because it can be incredibly overwhelming. But I think it's a word not to be afraid of. And having a hospice consult doesn't mean that you're even going to get the services, because you do have to qualify. They have certain criteria. Your hospice services, if you qualify, are covered by Medicare. Covered by your Medicare as part of your Medicare benefit. So it's something to not dismiss because we don't like the word. It just can be that extra support that actually can help you rebound, which I've seen in many, many cases. So anyway, back to the private duty. We work in conjunction with the hospice agencies all the time. We coordinate. Oftentimes we're the one calling that nurse saying, such and such is going on, what do we do in this case? Because we're in the home. We are often in the homes 24/7, and we'll see things going on because son or daughter doesn't live there. We'll see things going on, and we'll talk with the hospice nurse about what should we be doing to make sure that Mrs. So-and-so is as comfortable and healthy as possible. But anyway, so we like to coordinate our services with all of these other supportive in-home services, because when we all work together, we can allow you to stay at home as long as you want to. There may come a point in time where it's too medically acute that you can't stay at home, but that doesn't happen to everybody. We have had many, many people, many of our clients who have passed away at home. And they've been grateful that they've had the service and the coordination of service, and that's something you can look to you should be able to look to in any private duty non-medical home care agency, is a coordination of those services to make sure you're getting everything you need, and we can make recommendations. Hey, you might do better if you had a little physical therapy, right? Let's talk to your doctor and get that taken care of for you. So we can coordinate all of those things to give you the optimal chance to be successful at home, as long as you want to be successful at home. Any questions? Yes? Pricing, so it's going to vary by agency. I can tell you what we charge, $33 an hour during the week and $35 on the weekends.
Is there a minimum number of hours?
Yes, so we have a minimum of 4 hours per visit, 4 hours at a time. And right now we have, we had a 12-hour-a-week minimum. Right now we have a 20-hour-a-week minimum because we're finding that The 20 hours a week are easier for us to staff because we can have one caregiver working with you Monday to Friday, if that's what you need. But you can have that same caregiver. But if we have that 12-hour week, it gets a little harder for us to schedule people. And our goal is to give you consistency. So you get the caregiver that you want, and the caregiver that you're comfortable with, you develop a relationship with them, and you're comfortable with them and the care they're providing to you, and that you're comfortable as your needs change, opening up to them and saying, I can't do this anymore, or do you think you could help me in the shower? You know, I was independent, but I think I might need a little help. You become comfortable because you're seeing that same person every day and you're developing that relationship. So we're trying out the 20 hours a week right now to see, and we've found that it's easier for us to make our clients happy because you're getting that wonderful caregiver that knows you a lot better. Yes?
You're saying this 20 hours a week.
Yes.
What if you need somebody, you don't need them that many hours, maybe you just want them to take you to church, take you shopping, I don't know what.
Yeah, there are a lot of agencies. So what I would tell you is there are many agencies out there that have different criteria.
But it wouldn't be you don't do
Right,
that.
we can't,
Sure.
yes.
Okay, I got it, that's what I was.
Right. And the real reason is we have some amazing caregivers, right, who want to work. We have caregivers that want full-time work. And if we give them these short shifts all over the place, it's very difficult for us to actually get them full-time work.
Okay, yeah.
But if we do these 4-hour shifts, you can have a 4-hour morning shift and you can have a 4-hour afternoon shift and you have full-time work and you're working with just 2 different clients. And that's why people come to home care as opposed to going to a hospital or a rehab or a nursing home, because they can have that one-on-one relationship with somebody as opposed to having to take care of 10 people, just get through the work. But you get that one-on-one care. When you need it, you get it, right? You don't have to wait to take your shower because caregiver's there for you, right? You don't have to wait to have your breakfast because the caregiver's there to make your breakfast when you want it. So that's why people do like home care, and that's why we've gone to that 4-hour minimum.
Okay. I'm trying to get this all in
Okay.
my head, it's a lot.
Hold on, hold on.
Oh, you
Go ahead.
want to do that first?
No, you go ahead.
Oh, within that 4 hours, can they do various things for you?
Oh, yes.
Or do they have to be coming, suppose you wanted a shower,
Mhm.
and then you wanted to go out
Mhm.
to the bank, or,
Sure.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, so what we do is when we sign on a client, the first thing we do is an assessment. We come out and we sit down with you and we go over everything that's going on with you. Your medical issues, your functional issues, any needs that you have, right? I need help getting my groceries, or I need help with a shower, or I need somebody to walk with me every day, right? Whatever it is, we go out and we come up with your care plan.
Okay,
And what the care plan includes is anything that we could do while we're there.
okay,
So sometimes our clients, some of them are very regimented. This is their schedule. They don't deviate from that. We do banking on Tuesday, we do laundry on Wednesday. They don't deviate from that. We have other clients who knows, right? It's willy-nilly, but it's all in the care plan. That anything that we could do will be in the care plan. And then it's up to you and your caregiver to decide, oh, I have a doctor's appointment today, so we're not going to be able to do the laundry. Or I need to go to the bank. So it's totally up to you. Once the care plan is outlined and signed off on, this is what we can do. How you do it is up to you.
okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
You had a question, Mike?
Are the rates the same in Cambridge?
And the Cambridge, no, they're actually a little higher in
A
Cambridge.
little higher?
Yes.
Do you know what they are?
In Cambridge, we are at, we just went up, so it's 35 an hour during the week and 37 on the weekends.
Oh, okay. Is there a maximum number of straight hours that,
24 hours a day. We can cover up to 24 hours a day.
24 hours?
Yes. We won't do anything less than 4 at a time, but we can cover up to 24 hours a day. Right? And, you know, it's expensive, at 24 hours a day, it's expensive. And at some point, economically, you want to make the decision of, should I move to assisted living, or do I want to stay here? And I'll tell you what, we have clients who have that I'm going to stay here no matter what. And if you have the resource, it's wonderful. But we're there to support you either way. If you've had home care and you decide, I need to move, it's time for me to move because I need that 24-hour care and it doesn't make sense economically, we can help you transition. You know, we will often we'll spend some time with you moving, helping you do the move and helping you assimilate into a new community, which we've done for many clients also, after it becomes, you know, a point where they can't or are not able to stay at home for some reason, whether that's medical or financial. Do you have a question?
This has been a wake-up call for me.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't realize how ignorant I was with the field of long-term care.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us have long-term care policies. So I would
That's good.
think,
Fantastic. Yes.
I would think your advice to us would be to become familiar with the requirements listed in that
Yes.
long-term care.
Really, the biggest thing, the first thing to become familiar with is what is your either waiting period or elimination period, wherever they call it in your policy. And to also ask the question, when I want to activate this claim, does that elimination period, does it refer to calendar days or days of service? So if you have a 90-day elimination period, it might refer to 90 calendar days, or it means you need 90 days of service, right? So if you're getting service 3 times a week and you need 90, that's 30 weeks, right? If you're working with us, you're not getting service 3 times a week, you're getting it 5 times a week, right? So 5, that's what? How many weeks is that? Somebody do the math? 20-something weeks, right? So it's important to ask that question. So what a lot of our clients do is they start with a little service, right? We'll get the minimum service because after my waiting period is calendar. Most of them are calendar, but every once in a while we get tripped up and somebody has a days of service waiting period, so pay attention to that. But what a lot of clients will do is start with the minimum for their elimination period. And then once that's over and the insurance kicks in, then they'll say, oh, well, maybe we'll add a little bit, you know, add another hour a day or add, you know, a few more hours a day. I can give my husband or my daughter a break. You know, she doesn't have to be here with me. Or my son doesn't have to worry about running home and getting me dinner every night because now I can have those extra hours, right? So that's what a lot of people do is they'll start with the minimum service just to get through that elimination period, and then they'll get up to what they really need once the insurance kicks in. Also pay attention to if you have a maximum daily benefit. So a maximum daily that they'll pay, a maximum weekly. Some of them are daily, weekly, monthly. Some of them are just lifetime. There's no set amount that they'll restrict you to in a day or a week or a month, but your maximum policy benefit is X. Also, you want to make sure you have an inflation that if you do have one, that you got an inflation rider in there because, you know, obviously the money that you thought was a lot of money when you purchased this policy in today's dollars doesn't purchase a lot of care. So those inflation riders are really a really important part of what you're doing. But they'll calculate for you if you call them and say, you know, I'm thinking about activating this, or I'm getting to the point where I might need it. They'll calculate what your benefit is. They'll tell you if it's a daily benefit, if it's weekly, what your lifetime benefit is. All the policies have a lifetime benefit, but some of them restrict you to a certain amount daily or weekly. But they'll help you. If you call their customer service and say, I think I'm getting ready to activate or I'm close, can you help me figure out what do I need to know? You call them and you make them help you. And they will, they're generally helpful. Once you get through the paperwork and the qualification process, they're usually easy to deal with. It's just getting through that first process, because it can be really confusing and it's a lot of paperwork, and you gotta get a letter from your doctor and, different things, and meet their qualifications, their eligibility criteria. But once you're through that, it's generally an easy process to deal with them and get your payout, because you've been paying into this for a long time. I had an aunt who told me she was gonna cancel her policy. I was like, don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that. You've been paying, why would you do that? That's literally just saying, I'm throwing this money out the window, right? And it's amazing that, 40 years ago, when she started working, that the company she worked for offered this as a benefit. That they could buy this policy, buy this kind of a policy, right? You also want to check your policies. Sometimes, some of them many years ago were written as nursing home only policies. Check those. And if it is, I would call them and say, I want to use this for home care. Because so many years ago, home care didn't exist, right? In the early days of long-term care, home care didn't exist. This wasn't anything. People didn't stay home. The only option you had was what? A nursing home, right? People didn't stay home. So I would say to them, I didn't have an option at that point to get a home care policy. It didn't exist. I want to use this for home care. The squeaky wheel definitely gets the grease, right? And also, I know I've had clients who said, I'm just going to call the insurance commissioner and let them sort this out for me. If you're having trouble with that insurance company, because there have been a couple of companies in New Hampshire that like to give people a hard time. They like to collect your premiums but not pay out the money. They make you go through unnecessary hoops to get your money back, to activate your claim. So I know the insurance commissioner has been involved in a couple of instances. So don't be afraid to say, I need to call them because I don't think I'm being treated fairly by you, Mr. Insurance Company.
Will they drive your car, or if you don't have a car, would they provide transportation in their car?
We can, we just need to know in advance, so we make sure we have an appropriate caregiver for you. Mhm.
What was her question? I didn't hear.
Will the caregiver drive their car if you don't have a car to
Okay.
take you on an errand?
I wondered about that.
I would say it's 50-50 with our clients who have cars versus don't have cars, so, yeah. In my Cambridge and Boston office, nobody has a car, but none of our caregivers drive either.
Yeah.
So it's Uber a lot. We Uber or taxi a lot, mostly Uber. It's easier. Did you have a question? Okay. I thought I saw someone over here.
Enlightening.
Okay. Any questions? There's some treats in the back, and I think there's a magnet back there with our phone number on it. If you have any questions, my card is in there somewhere. Yes. Yes, I think it's in the bag with the candy. My card is in there. I'm Louise Murphy.
Let me ask you another question. Let's say this is enlightening, it's a lot for us to absorb.
Sure is.
So would you come back again and talk?
Sure. Mhm. If you can call specifically, if you have questions, personal questions, feel free to call me. We can come over and chat directly. Or if there's any other topic that you want to learn more about, specifically, I'm happy to come back and do that also, anytime. It is a lot to take in, I know. Yes, it's a lot to take in. I've been doing this for 13 years now, and I will tell you what, before that I started this, and even my first few years, I truly didn't understand the whole world. And the world has changed dramatically in the last 2 years, right? But I think it's in a positive way for home care, in a positive way for you all, because you want to stay home. And now we have the big insurance companies and we have the government on the train with us saying care at home is the best thing for you, right? Care at home is the best thing for all of you. Because we know that when people leave their environment, the environment that they know and we all have these mental maps. I know my house, right? I could close my eyes and walk around. But when you leave that environment, you decline. You have more falls, you get, more injuries, and you just decline because cognitively, your brain doesn't know this new place. So the goal, and the government and the big insurance companies are finally understanding, this is the best thing we can do. It's a lot cheaper for us to keep you at home than it is for us to pay for you to be in a skilled nursing facility or the hospital, right? And we can avoid a lot of hospitalizations by being there in that supportive way, right? We can see when you're not really acting like yourself, and maybe we just need to get you some antibiotic because you have a UTI, right? Versus if you're living alone, there's nobody there to see what's going on with you. You decline so much, you end up in the hospital, right? So, and we can be there to make sure you're taking your medications correctly and make sure that you're eating, right? You're eating well, or you're eating a reasonable diet, We all eat less as we age. Body doesn't need that much, as much as we did. So we eat less, but we still need to eat, right? And we still need to eat things that are good for us, not the package of Oreos that some of us might like to eat.
It's just there.
It's what's there and easy is not always the best thing for you, right? But we can make sure that you are eating well and doing as much as you can to stay healthy and out of the hospital or out of those other places. Mhm.
Here, I could talk to you all day. Suppose you come and you think somebody has a UTI. What happens, these days, your doctor, when you call him,
Yes.
does not ever say, come in and see me. You have a
Yes.
6-month appointment,
Yeah.
and that's what you get.
Oftentimes we can help get a urine sample at home. They'll ask if we can help get a sample, or get you to the lab to get a sample.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you wouldn't necessarily have to go to your doctor, but we can get you to a lab, or we can help get a sample at home if you're able to get out.
And then get that taken care of.
Mhm.
You'll have to go to the doctor.
Then we go to the pharmacy and get they'll call it in to the pharmacy, and we go to the pharmacy and pick up the prescription for you. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else?
I just think it's good to have somebody,
Mhm.
know of somebody that you can call
Yes.
and ask questions.
Yes, I'm happy to, I love to talk. I talk for a living, so I am happy to talk to any of you. Give me a call, just let me know that you're calling from here, and you heard me speak. I'm happy to answer any questions that are specific to you. And if you do think of a topic that you think would be beneficial for many people, feel free to let Sarah know, and I'll see if I can put something together. Okay? All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you.